This week was incredible, I think. For me, this week was awesome. Why do I feel nervous about this review today? I was just about to walk outside. The sun was shining like just a minute ago, and now it's raining. It's been like this all week, actually, like sporadic sunshine in between, like just rain. And honestly, like, it's cozy. I like it. So, week 10. Wow. 2 more weeks. That feels unreal. That feels like it's like really? So much has happened in such a small amount of time, like literally 7 days. I'm just amazed by it. I had this conversation with a friend of mine, actually, like before recording this, like a day ago. There's a part of me that's really worried that because I've already expressed, kind of reflected and expressed what I was feeling throughout this week, that I won't be able to capture everything again. But it's just, I guess it's just my own fears, my anxiety doing its thing. I left the balcony open so that you can hear the sound of the rain, because it's so soothing. I mean, I don't know if my mic's gonna pick it up, but I like it. So last week I was starting to feel, I literally feel like I don't know what to say at this point. All right, let's back it up, start from what's happening right now, because it feels like this is all I can think about, and I'm trying to go from like the beginning of the week and then move to current me, but I can't do that right now. My brain is just like focused on current, and then I can try to move backwards. So I'm really excited because today I got the final test prints back for the prints that I'm making, and I'm so obsessed. They look really cool. It feels real, like it's happening. Okay, so let's just talk about what happened today. I was feeling kind of low, and it's because I was talking to another friend of mine, and she pointed this out to me, which was really awesome. But when you have moments of really high, like euphoria, like excitement about life, about things that are happening, and then the next 2 or 3 days after, everything kind of goes back to its regular, like normal way of being, you can mistake that for being really depressing instead of just being normal. And so when she said that to me, I was like, that's it. Like, I'm not having a bad day. Like, I just have come down from a big euphoric moment, or a big euphoric week, actually, for me, because it was like one thing after the other after the other. And it started with doing yoga in the morning. It wasn't like something that I had planned to do. Like, I've been wanting to move for a while, and I think I was giving myself too much to do, that it was impossible for me to start. I was saying I'm gonna dance every day, I'm gonna go hiking, I'm gonna go exploring, I'm gonna go do this, and I'm gonna do that, and none of it was happening. It felt like big and overwhelming. This particular day I woke up, I was feeling really heavy. I remember it was after recording like the review for week 9, and I was feeling just really heavy and overwhelmed. Something happened, like my body just took over. I rolled out the mat. I did this practice. Shout out to Yoga with Adrian, because like she's amazing. I love her. Highly recommend to anyone who wants to start practicing. Like, I don't know. She gets it. Like, it feels like she knows me and what I'm going through. Anyway, so I rolled out the mat. I started the practice, and I was entirely in my body. I was not thinking about how stiff I was and how much flexibility I'd lost since the last time I'd practiced, and how unbalanced I was. I wasn't thinking about any of those things, which was normally what came up whenever I tried to practice yoga. I was immediately judging myself for where I was at the time. Like, oh, you've messed up because you were so good before, you were so consistent, and now look at you, you have to start from the beginning, and blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't like that this time. I was just like fully in my body. I was moving, and literally like every deep breath that I took, every exhale, I cried. With every exhale, I cried throughout that entire practice. Like there was so much in my body that had accumulated that I needed to release. And when it came out, the weight that was off my shoulders, like, I don't even have words to describe it. It felt like I'd literally let go of everything. This is really cool because I've been doing it all week, taking the time to do the morning pages, like clearing my mind, and then adding on top of it this practice to release whatever is still trapped in my body has been so liberating, so liberating. And like, not every day has been perfect. Not every day was this big moment of release, no, but just adding this practice on top of the practice of doing my morning pages has really helped with getting rid of whatever it is that's holding me back internally and just kind of doing the work, like doing what I need to do. So that's been really cool. That has made me really happy. And it's really funny because before that I was talking to a friend of mine and we were discussing, like we were talking about how we were craving a sense of routine and a sense of like discipline in our lives. Now we've both kind of come to a place, and it kind of like naturally flowed into this daily practice of movement, and we've both kind of come to a place where we recognize that it isn't about discipline, it's about devotion. That has shifted a lot of things for me in the way that I do everything, not just doing yoga or doing my morning pages, but like this devotion to be better, to connect more, to be present. It's just, yeah. So I don't know if I talked about this I don't remember if I talked about this in last week's review, but I decided to make prints of the Peachtober artwork that I had been making since the beginning of the month. Just like doing that, it started like everything started kind of flowing afterwards. And I did a thing that I've been trying to do for years that I was so terrified, and I've been constantly saying, yeah, I want to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, but I've never done it, and I finally did it and I feel so good about doing it. I finally have my own website, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it feels so good. And you know, the thing is, like, it was always something in my mind where I was like, oh, this is something I can't afford. Like, this is expensive. I don't have the money for this. I don't have an income to support this. But in order for me to have an income to support this, I need this. It's like a, you know, it was unplanned. It was just, it just happened. I was sitting there and I was thinking about all the prints. I was thinking about how do I want to provide this to the people whoever wants to buy them. Like, how do I give them the access to this? I don't want to go through DMs and bank accounts and all this like weird stuff. Plus I'm gonna be traveling next week, so it's gonna get really messy and I don't want to have to deal with that. How do I solve this problem? The problem is solved by having a website where people can go purchase what they need to purchase. I have all of their details there, and it's just simple. Like, it's connected straight to some payment provider, and I'm done. Like, I don't have to worry about it, and it's done. I mean, the website's not finished yet. I'm still in the middle of like working it out, but the fact that I have it, okay? The relief. And that's exactly kind of what I felt like. There was a lot of like buildup of emotions that were coming up, and it was just like I could feel it in my body. My heart was racing, my face was getting warm, but not in the usual way that I tend to feel when I'm getting like anxious and like something bad is happening. It was exciting, and as soon as I clicked buy or whatever, I don't remember, as soon as I clicked on the like final point where it was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this, this is my website now. The euphoria, the excitement, in the same way I felt the release when I did the yoga practice, this was another release. Like, it just felt right. I'm so grateful. The thing is, right, this week wasn't all like beautiful moments. There were moments that were not great, bad things happened, but the way in which I responded to them, my past self, and I call her my past self because it really feels like a different life in comparison to how I process things now versus like a couple of months ago. Not even a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago. I like to say a couple when I actually mean a bunch or like a few. I don't know why, but people get confused because a couple is two but I mean more than that. For example, when I went to do the test prints, I was so excited. We had gone on a couple of trips to find places to print, and finally when we found the one, and I was like really cool, really happy about it because they had the paper that I wanted. We did the test print. It turned out that the artwork was the wrong size for the size of print that I wanted, so everything was pixelated, and then on top of that the colors were all wrong because it was in RGB and it used to be in CMYK to be printed. I normally would have been so defeated by that. That would have been the creative U-turn. That would have been the point where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why did I even think I could do this? There's no point. Like, I should just give up now. But none of that happened. None of that happened. My mind was racing on the drive home. On the drive home? Anyway, it wasn't that negative self-talk. It wasn't. It was actually just like, okay, what can I do to solve this problem? I need to figure out if there's a way for me to enlarge this without losing the pixels. Is that possible? If yes, then okay. I need to figure out how to change the colors without having it be such a big difference. Can I do that? If yes, then yes. If no, I need to find out what else I can do. And if I have to then redo all of the illustrations again, can I do that? Yes, I can. Okay. And there was like, it was just so chill that I remember sitting there and being like, I am really calm. Like, I am really, really calm. I don't know if this is like the calm before the storm where I freak out and everything is bad, but right now I am really calm. And Matthew was looking at me and he was like, yeah, you are really calm. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing, I'm not worried. And that was, who is this new human? It's so cool. Like, I even had a moment where I was triggered by something really intensely. My whole body was shaking and my heart was racing and I couldn't breathe and crying, and like, it was a big emotional, big intense reaction. But I let myself cry, and then I was like, okay, I can still fix this. And that was it. I'd moved on. It didn't consume me. It didn't even last 10 minutes. I was over it. And to me, I'm so like, I fucking did it. And I know not every day is gonna be this way, but just knowing that I am cultivating this kind of practice with myself, this kind of response with myself, where I'm not automatically reverting to talking shit and feeling like shit and just all like general shittiness. It feels like the thing that had like really struck me in my heart, the thing that the part of me, the shadow self, this part that doesn't keep promises, I was really working on just making sure that I do, and not betraying myself, and in turn not betraying the people around me. And it's just so fascinating. Oh yeah, another thing that was really cool is that since week 8, I think, roughly, we've had to do these like visualization exercises of like how do you see your future being, the life that you want to live, like to actually visualize it, like collect images and put things together so that you can kind of build a visual reference of what you want to create for yourself. And I've been struggling so much with these exercises because as soon as I sit down to try and do them, it's like, I don't know what I want. And I've realized that I had gotten so good at not letting myself dream because of the amount of times that when I have expressed the dream, or when I've tried to like go after it, being told that that's not for you, or that's not gonna work, or that's not how people do it, or whatever. And so to like preserve myself or protect myself from that pain of like having my dreams crushed, I just stopped dreaming altogether. And so this week, it was a very small, very random moment where I was scrolling through Instagram, which also, by the way, is so cool because I don't do that as much as I used to. And it's kind of like just a little check-in to see what other creatives have been up to, how the Peachtober thing is going, like just with intention, you know, not just like mindlessly scrolling. And I came across this ad. It was an ad for like a clothing store, but like an ethical kind of upcycle kind of clothing store, which I thought was really cool. And they had this like, how do I say, like overall dress, like with all these really cool colors and patterns. And there was something about it, it just like really brought me so much joy. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Straight after that, I started envisioning how I would pair what I would pair this with, how I would style it, even where I would wear it, what I would be doing, how I was holding and carrying myself, how I was like presenting myself in that environment, where I was. Like I built an entire story around this piece of clothing. For me, that was like, fuck, I am doing it. I am visualizing the future that I want. Finally, it's happening. And I also have to credit this Skillshare class that I did this week specifically to learn how to get better at my digital illustrations, like how to plan them better, how to add more interesting details to the overall piece, but specifically like the background, because that was something I was always interested in. Like, how do I make this world pop more? Like, how do I make it more interesting, more fascinating? And so I took this Skillshare class. I don't remember the name of it, but I will link it below because it's really cool. The thing that excited me, or the thing that was like lighting up this fire in me again, was the beginning of her class, where she talks about inspiration, like where to get your inspiration from and what to do with it. Like, it's so simple, right? It's very obvious and straightforward, just like the things that are around you, the place that you're in, these little things that like kind of excite you a little bit, like, oh, that looks really interesting, or that color in this leaf is really cool. Like, just documenting these things, then later on having a pool of things that you find really interesting, that is beautiful to you, and using them as inspirations for whatever story you want to come up with. I thought that was just brilliant. It is what opened up the visualization practice for me, because you do visualize what this, let's say if you're creating an illustration about a character or a place or whatever, you're thinking of the story, you're thinking of all the little details, you're thinking about all of these like ways in which you can make the person who sees this illustration more curious, asking more questions, like, who is that person, where is this place, what are they doing? Like, all of these just like really cool things, just generally really awesome. This kind of brings me back to the Peachtober stuff, the Peachtober challenge, and the fact that I didn't actually finish the whole thing. And today specifically, just before like recording this review, I was kind of feeling really shitty about that, but I had made the decision before that to stop where I was so that I could actually do all of these other things, like setting up the website, going to find the print shops, and testing out all of these things and learning new skills for the next batch of illustrations that I'm gonna make, like whether I make them into prints or into something else, or it doesn't matter, just improving the way that I work, improving my creative flow, and just like, you know, figuring out the other side of things. I made that decision with myself. It was a conscious decision that I made. But then when I'd seen everybody's final like Peachtober drawings all put together in one, like all 31 drawings, so beautiful, so like everyone has done like the wow, mashallah, everyone has done an incredible job, whoever joined, like, anyway. And so I felt disappointed in myself that I didn't finish it like everybody else. Definitely feeling disappointed. Then I realized that this whole experience was extremely liberating for me. Like, the output of like number of illustrations versus the impact it's had on my internal growth, like, doesn't even compare. I learned a new medium, like digital art wasn't something that I was fluent in. It was actually something that I didn't even want to do. Like, I was so against it, like, nah, I'm just gonna be traditional and I'm not gonna do, but I love it now. I love it. It's like another form of art that I can do, and it's just really exciting because it's so different from the traditional medium and the ways in which you can play with things, and it's just something that I can get excited about. Learning how to listen and how to visualize and how to put ideas together, and challenging myself to keep a promise that I made, like to do a thing every day. I don't know, I feel good about it. Yeah, so this week has been a really great week. Next week I'm traveling to see my sister, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see her. I've missed her so much. It's gonna be so good, as well as my cousins. So it's gonna be really awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to what week 11 has in store for me. The cool thing about this is I haven't really just been doing like 1 week and finishing everything in that 1 week, like from the tasks to everything 1 week after another. It's kind of like I've been going back and forth. Like if I feel like there's a lesson in week 7 that I want to revisit, or there's an idea in week 8 that I didn't really understand, then I go back and I understand it, or there's a task that I didn't do, then I go back and do it. Like it's just this flexibility of like, I'm gonna be okay with myself. I'm not gonna be so hard on myself in terms of like, you didn't do it perfect. You didn't do it like this, like this, like this. No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And I'm doing it the way that feels right to me. Embracing what comes with it. So exciting. And the fact that I have a friend who is, like I have 2 friends currently. One that's actually doing the artist's way as well. And we kind of started doing it together unintentionally. It just happened and then we talked about it and then we were like, whoa, we're both doing it. And it just kind of became this like support system that is so beautiful, honestly. Like if you are planning to take on this journey for yourself, it is really cool to have someone else there with you, because you can talk about the wonder of this journey together. But I don't think it's a necessity. Like it's really where you're at in your life and what you feel is necessary for you, whether you want to be doing it alone or if you need another person there or want another person there even. And then I have another friend who is currently kind of on a similar journey with her creativity and figuring things out for herself and like embarking on new adventures, and just like this interaction is just so refreshing. Like it's honest. Even the ways in which I talk about myself and I talk to other people has shifted. I'm no longer so cynical and I'm honest. I'm very honest about what I'm feeling, but not in a way that's like, if I'm feeling shitty one day and I say it like I am not feeling good today, it doesn't become a defining factor for my day. It just means that right now in this moment I'm not feeling good. And I can now admit to myself when I am feeling good without having the need to hold on to this, but no, this is my identity. My identity is this struggling artist or struggling person. Like it's been so long that I've been that person that I have received what I needed to receive from people because of that person that I was. And I no longer want to be that person. And it's now becoming so much easier to just really be in tune with what's happening. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's like meh, it's meh, and it's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with any moment. So yeah, I feel like I talked a lot for this one. Hopefully when I edit this, it'll be shorter than 30 minutes, but who knows? I'm really excited. I wanted to share my excitement. Oh, my leg is numb. One more thing before I go. When I started this journey, I think I had an expectation of who and how I was going to be by the end of it. I thought I was going to be this highly productive, famous artist that is doing incredible things, that is blah, 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 blah. But it's week 10, right? I have 2 more weeks to go before the end of this, and I am nowhere near those expectations. But I have made small improvements in my life that have made a significant, drastic change for me. And it's not where I thought I was going to be, but I know that I can get there. And also I re-evaluated those expectations. Like, do those things even matter to me right now? You know, is it really that important that I become a famous artist? No, actually. What's important to me is that I am enjoying my practice, that I am happy creating for me. So yeah, just like recognizing that my expectations and where I'm at in my journey are not the same, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. The person that I am today is not the person I was when I first started this, and I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to change a thing. I don't know if you know by now, but I highly recommend this to anybody in wherever you are in your career or in your life, whatever it is. If you want more creative connection, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be an artist in the sense that everybody knows. Living a creative life can be for anybody and everybody. So if that's something that you feel called to, highly recommend this. Big time. That's all for today. See you next week.